Hey there, welcome to another edition of Vegas BadBoyz of Podcasting. It is I, DJ Impact. I got all the bad boys here, Matt Michaels, Sin City Steve, and Simon Street. And welcome everyone to our Wrestling Talk. If you're watching us live, make sure you throw all your comments inside the chat box of Twitch, YouTube, or Facebook Live, and we'll try to get it in as we see fit. All right, fellas, a lot of wrestling went on this past weekend, so it's time for us to get into it with our four-way stop. All right, Sin City Steve, man, what highlights do you have for the week?
All right, FTR are still your AEW World Tag Team Champions, defeating MJF and Adam Cole in the main event of Collision. Dax Harwood rolled MJF up and pulled the tights to secure the win. Yes, MJF was the one that ate the pin. After the match, MJF was distraught, saying that he lost the match, pinning the blame solely on himself. And Cole tried to cheer him up, told him that he was the world champion, didn't have anything to worry about, handed him the belt, and turned his back to him, almost inciting what he thought was going to happen. And it never did. He was waiting for MJF to clock him with the title, and it never happened. Instead, they hugged it out. All four guys shook hands post-match. MJF cut a good babyface promo to send the crowd home happy. And, you know, if you would have told me a year ago that I would have said that sentence, I would have laughed in your fucking face. But it happened. Also, CM Punk is the real world's champion, or so he proclaimed on Collision. He finally took his belt out of the big red bag before grabbing a can of black spray paint and drawing a massive X on the belt. Yeah, he drew a perfect X too, covered the golden E in AEW. Just so happens that the E stands for elite. I wonder if there was some symbolism there. Anyway, elsewhere in that, well, obviously he's drawing an X on the title because the X has been synonymous with him as a character.
But an X perfectly centered, of course, is going to go over the E.
Hey, I'm just giving him props that he put it perfectly in the center.
Exactly. Like, there was no gold showing from the E, and I will reclaim my time. And then also, we ended up getting a match from being signed for next week. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, somehow out of nowhere, gets pulled out of randomness to be the special guest referee between CM Punk and Ricky Starks. Yeah, interesting stuff.
Yeah, maybe that whole X has to do with this. He's hanging out with Elon Musk. He wanted to change the logo. You know,
hey, man.
I don't know. You know,
Never know.
I don't know.
He should have used neon green.
Right.
Well, I mean, considering that, you know, they're not really doing much of anything with them anymore on TV, it seems like. So why not steal the spray paint gimmick too?
Simon Street, man, what you got?
So I'm going to go ahead and start with Monday Night Raw, Becky Lynch, Zoe Stark. And as this match, if you haven't been paying attention, if Becky Lynch is able to defeat Zoe Stark, she's able to take another crack at that bitch, Trish Stratus. And it was a great match. And that's why I put it as one of my four-way stops. It really was entertaining. And, Becky looked great. And Zoe continues to just show that she belongs. I think I won't go too far into that. Next I'm going to go ahead and drop in a little bit with NXT just before the Great American Bash. Something interesting that did happen was with Valkyria and, the women's champion Rhea Ripley. That match was really, really good. And it was great because it started with a backstage segment, between her and Rhea Ripley, basically proving herself because, Juicy J, whatever her name is, was starting trouble with her and stole her adornments and everything. But anyways, my point is the match was great, really showed next level shit. And then I'm going to go to another thing that happened in NXT, the anonymous footage, which I found to be funny with Roxanne Perez. It's crazy because you could tell who her mentor was because I immediately thought of Booker T, Stone Cold, and was waiting for someone to get some milk poured on him. It was a fight inside of a convenient gas station, it looked like. Good footage, and then leading up to Great American Bash, man, that was a hell of a match. that we saw on a Great American Match. It was like one of the best matches I've seen out of her in a while. So that was my 4-way stop. Ding.
All right, good stuff there, Matt Michaels.
Yeah, to continue on that match, they started it with an angle that you don't see very much ever, and that was Davenport in a black hoodie while Roxanne was slapping hands with fans, just attacked her. It was like, let's start the match like that. And it was fucking brilliant. And you had Roxanne do a nice splash onto the table on top of Davenport from outside onto the outside of the ring. That was pretty sweet. And man, she did pop rocks onto like 3 chairs, which was fucking great. So you got to give a lot of credit to Davenport. She did a lot in this match to make Roxanne look really fucking good. Baron Corbin all of a sudden fucking woke up and now he's a fucking wrestler. What the fuck? It was unreal. Corbin and Gable Steveson was it was perfectly done because the match itself started out being just kind of an average match. But those two started beating the fuck out of each other for a count out, a double fucking count out. When the fuck does that happen nowadays?
Yeah.
The fans were hot and they started chanting bullshit, which was great because those two never stopped fighting.
Nope.
It was fucking awesome. Security guards were going down. Those two just kept fighting. It was fucking great. And Tiffany versus Thea. You saw a towel stoppage. Chase threw in the towel because Thea was in
Boston Crab. And inverted Boston Crab.
Yeah, it was an inverted Boston Crab. And it was fucking, all he could do was throw in the towel. And, she's left there crying. He's next to her. So sorry. You got Duke kind of on the outside. You can see him in the background, kind of looking like stunned that Chase did that. So their story progressing there too. And Tiffany looked great. So good stuff.
Yeah. Sounds like it. All right, let's move right into our Too Sweet for the week. All right, Simon Street, what you got?
Man, I'm going to go on my Too Sweet for the week was the match I just saw with your NXT champion, Carmelo Hayes versus Ilya Dragunov. Oh, my gosh. Fucking amazing match. If you haven't had a chance to watch that match, you got to watch it again. I immediately thought of, out of all the great NXT matches we've ever seen, that right there, for me, would go up. And it didn't start out that way. At first, it was kind of, just like you said, Michaels with the Baron Corbin match and Gable, it started off really slow steam. And I was like, But then when it picked up, man, they took the brakes off them wheels, man, and it was full collision. And I like this because it did a lot of things. Number one, if you didn't get a chance to watch NXT UK and you don't know who Mr. Dragunov is, he's the one that beat Walter, who is now who you call Gunther. I think it was 870 days as UK champ. I could be off with the numbers. That is a hard-hitting dude. And for Carmelo Hayes to kick it up a next notch, I have seen him finesse. I have seen him do spectacular, beautiful things in that ring. This was a different type of match. Now, the ending, gotta say, a little bit of controversy, but it's one of those that I don't think it was totally intentional. For those, sorry, spoiler alert. Basically, you have Carmelo Hayes on the outside. Trick Williams is just hyping him up, man. I felt like I was in a Rocky movie. He's going to say, no pain, no pain. This is what you're doing this for. And they're on the outside, and Dragunov goes in to do a shot at the back of the head. Trick pulls him out of the way, but Trick had the NXT belt on his shoulder. Dragunov, full steam, hits that belt, knocked out. Carmelo rolls him back into the ring and, finishes the job. So that's going to be the interesting story moving forward of how that bridges together, because if you watch NXT this past Wednesday, Trick and Ilya Dragunov definitely have some unfinished business. So I wonder if that's going to tie into it. So, man, that match, Too Sweet for the week.
All right. Matt Michaels, man, too sweet for the week.
Yeah, that match was really, really good. You're definitely going to see Trick and Dragunov do something, and you might start seeing Trick start the separation from Mello. That's kind of where it starts feeling like I got a feeling that they're going to have a match between the two of them before, Mello goes up. Stax and the Don are tag team champions. Great way to start off the show, too. Giving them the belts is fucking smart. Gallus really is not over in the States. So, pretty good, way to tell the story there and keep that going. But the sweetest too sweet for the week is Dominic. Once again, Dominic fucking Mysterio is dominating the goddamn airwaves. He had a great match with Sami Zayn. He had a great opening segment in NXT on the microphone, and that triple threat North American title match was fucking off the hook. Wesley dived over Rhea Ripley, who was standing on the apron, which was fucking insane, and landed the fucking thing on his feet. It was one of the most impressive things I've ever seen in my life. And the match was just told perfectly. And Dom again steals a match in which Mustafa Ali actually looked like a professional wrestler for once in his life.
He looked good.
So, yeah, it was like, well, and that goes to show a lot. And that means that, you know what? Some of those guys who were up on the main roster, Corbin, Ali, Dana Brooks this week, they fucking belong in NXT.
Yeah. Dom is like the biggest heel in such a long time in WWE. I mean, to get that much heat, like I don't know when the last time I've heard heat like that. It's amazing.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine Cody versus Dom?
Oh, that would. Well, we kind of already had that. It didn't work out too well.
No. When it gets to that level.
When it gets to the fever pitch part, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because that didn't work out last month.
No, it worked out. That match was actually good.
It wasn't bad.
For Dominic.
Maybe it's just me.
Remember, it's Dominic Mysterio.
I know. He's like the shit stain of WWE right now,
He's the fucking best.
I just want to share something real quick. I won't go on. Something my son said. He was watching the Great American Bash with me. And the announcer said Dom had something from both his daddies. And so my son asked me, it's like, so that guy right there has two dads. One of my friends has two dads too. And I had to explain to him the whole Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio. I had to share that with y'all.
Dude, you missed the opportunity to make Eddie and Ray gay. That your son already was in that line of thought. You should have just gone with it.
I already had to explain to him about mommy, but that's a whole nother story.
Sin City Steve, man, what you got?
All right, so Buddy Matthews and Andrade El Idolo went out and they had a fantastic ladder match on Collision. The match revolved around Andrade's mask that was stolen by the House of Black. And yeah, go figure. The mask that was stolen gets put up in a ladder match and officially sanctioned by AEW. Whatever. Regardless, the in-ring product was fucking awesome. These guys beat the shit out of each other for around 18 minutes. Handcuffs were introduced into the match and ended up being the thing that restrained Buddy Matthews as Andrade climbed the ladder, grabbed his mask. Elsewhere, the New Japan Pro Wrestling G1 Climax tournament always produces great matches, and Jeff Cobb and Zack Sabre Jr. were no exception. These two guys went out. They had an absolutely brilliant match in the tournament. Cobb, who has never beaten ZSJ, never, picked up the win with a tour of the islands. These guys told an amazing story, and Cobb finally showed that he was able to counter ZSJ and his litany of submissions. It really wouldn't surprise me if Cobb wins his entire block. Another match from the G1 Climax tournament that I have to mention is Tomohiro Ishii and Eddie Kingston. These guys Yes, they're in a block. We've already talked about it. The C block is a block made up of guys that'll just stand up there and throw bombs at each other for the entire match. And yeah, that's essentially what these guys did. If you like stand-up chop wars, lariats, strong style brawling, this match is for you. If not, you might want to reverse everything that I said because you won't appreciate it. Ishii picked up the win with the vertical drop brainbuster. Like I said, very polarizing. You'll either love it or you'll hate it.
Yeah, I ran into one of my guys at work who watched the G1, and he's like, he said, with Eddie Kingston, I realized he really likes to work with Japan wrestlers. When it comes to American wrestlers, he don't give a shit. He half works. Yep. He doesn't care. It's like whatever. But whenever it gets to the Japanese, he goes all in. So that's where his passion is. So I was like, oh, all right. Now that makes sense because I've seen some matches on AEW. Like, why does it seem like he shouldn't be on?
But I tell you what, if AEW's smart, they're going to run that match back for that title. Because that was a hot match.
For the New Japan Strong title?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
they could honestly put that on one of the All In All Out shows and, obviously put that as a title match. And yeah, it would fit.
It was that hard hitting down to the end.
I also just want to shout out, I really thought a 2 sweet match for me would have been the Bronson Reed and Tommaso Ciampa match. I wasn't expecting anything to come out of that. And that was actually really good. I mean, Tommaso really showing, man, that, look, he was always a beast in NXT, but now since he's come back, man, that match was just really impressive. And to a dead Tampa audience, and they were not a good audience, they came alive during that match. So shout out to them.
Shinsuke. Think about that. Ciampa and Shinsuke. It looks like that's what they're setting up.
That would be cool. Shinsuke versus Popeye.
Yep. All right, here we go.
I like her like, yep.
This week's WTF. Matt Michaels, did you happen to see anything that made you go, what the fuck?
Yeah, first off, Apollo Crews still has a job? What the fuck?
Come on, don't you see him standing there?
I was literally shocked. I'm like, oh, dude, him? Really? He's still with them? Okay.
I was shocked to see him. I don't hate him as much as you do, but it was funny. I'm like, oh yeah, he is with the company.
He's there?
Yeah.
Just proving the point that crowds are fucking sheep. Sheamus said yeah, and the whole crowd said yeah. So it goes and blows everyone's, oh my God, he's so hot theory. Roxanne Perez's little sister was the worst fucking actor in the world. If you go back and watch that match, watch her trying to cry, and it's hysterical. Yeah, another title that has no value in AEW. CM Punk just gave himself a title, so good for you, Punk. Wonderful. And if you watched Britt and Taya wrestle, holy shit, it was sad, very, very sad, and I don't understand why. I don't know if something's just, I don't know. I don't know if Britt's not getting enough wrestling time because she looked rusty, and Taya is just getting so buried that maybe she's just not giving a fuck. I don't know, but it was just, there were spots in there that you can literally see the timing was just bad. And this made no sense to me. So Gravity shows up and he gets a good match with Pac on fucking Dynamite, and then gets destroyed by Samoa Joe on Saturday. And it was just like, what the hell happened? What are you doing?
Yeah. Wow. All right. Let's move right over to you. Sin City Steve, what you got?
So has Collision officially supplanted Dynamite as being the A show?
Yes.
I'm not saying ratings wise, obviously, but there's more of a buzz around that show each and every week. This week's Dynamite felt completely like a filler episode, a bit of a punt. Why? Realistically, why the fuck? There should be just as much emphasis on on the show and as much star power on the flagship show as there is on the new secondary show. Just a thought.
Yeah.
I could easily go off while discussing the Britt Baker and Taya Valkyrie match, but not for reasons why you would think. Yes, Michaels, as you mentioned, there were some clunky spots in the match. The timing was off. The two virtually had no chemistry whatsoever. But the fan backlash is what was unbelievable.
Right.
My real what the fuck for that match goes to the IWC, the Internet Wrestling Community, for their comments that quite frankly crossed the line about Taya, her appearance, and her performance in the match. What the fuck?
Yeah, three count's going to be awesome. Anyone listening want to listen to 3 count?
Most definitely. And then lastly, why in the fuck is Jerry Lynn on my TV in 2023? The guy was great in ECW 20 years ago. His matches with RVD defined an era in ECW. But now you've got Jack Perry carrying the FTW title, talking trash about ECW guys in promos. Of course, Jerry Lynn comes out and gets in Jack Perry's face. Next week, we have a face-to-face with these guys. Now, why is it called a face-to-face? Because Jerry Lynn cannot physically take bumps. So it won't be a match. But why the fuck do we have to go this direction with Jack Perry? What the fuck?
Wow.
Because there's nothing else for the guy to do. No one knows what to do with him. It's unreal. Get him in NXT and he's a fucking star.
Put anyone in NXT from AEW and they're a star.
No. In all honesty, think about it. What they would do with him creatively would give him a direction. The guy's got a look. They could probably coach him up, give him a little bit more of a talking ability. And he would get that experience. They just don't have that. That's the problem. They don't have a feeder program.
Yeah, I think that he definitely needs promo class time, just like how Brian Pillman Jr. has signed with NXT and is reporting to the Performance Center. Yeah. I've said from the beginning, he's a good wrestler. He's borderline great in the ring if you give him the chance, but he is abysmal on the microphone. He's proven it time and time again. So hopefully Brian Pillman Jr. does well and gets promo classes. I just wish that they could do the same thing for Jack Perry while still keeping him under the AEW umbrella.
Gotcha. Simon Street, man, what you got?
Well, I got a couple of them. So we're going to start with Monday Night Raw. Logan, Ricochet. My gosh, can someone pour an extra can of kerosene, throw in a couple propane tanks, and launch this motherfucking shit? Because we're a week out of freaking SummerSlam, and I still don't give 2 fucks. And it's nothing against them as competitors. I know when it comes to spots, the shit's gonna be cool. But man, you talked about promos. No offense, that is the weak point of Ricochet. So it's just a challenging situation to be in, to where you have Logan Paul, where his upside is talking on the mic. Ricochet ain't used to all that mouth service on the mic like that, and it showed. At times, man, it probably could have used that a different way. But my point is when he gets on the mic, it doesn't translate like it should. It almost feels like he's having a hard time with whatever script they're having him do. I think if he was more natural, if he could be doing that, it might come out better. And it sucks because I know it's going to be a good match when it comes, ring time. It's just, man, the launch is horrible. Other stuff that just really, I'm sitting here trying to figure out. And yeah, I'm going to talk a little shit about SmackDown. I'm going to talk a little bit because normally I don't. All right, so we're talking about LA Knight the last couple of weeks. Why the fuck y'all put LA Knight with Ashanti the Adonis?
Because he's a fucking jobber.
I get that. But at the end of the day, the shit was, what the fuck, man? I know you was happy, man, Mike, because you was up there. I said, see, this is what I'm talking about. At least the crowd got to say, yeah.
Yeah, but LA Knight went over. Everyone was happy, and the guy who was supposed to lose lost.
But man, feet, and there's nothing bad to hit road, but man, they're just not ready yet, man. For real. When you talk about people going back to NXT, they need to go back to NXT because they short one man, and we all know it. It is what it is. I'm just here to tell the truth, y'all. Last thing to me that didn't make any sense, but it was a bright, shining moment at the end of it. Carl Anderson and Killer Cross. Why? Other than the fact that I do like that move that Killer Cross got, and it's funny, it's not Killer Cross anymore, but it's Karrion Kross. But Karrion Kross, Final Prayer. That's a pretty cool move. It looks very similar to like an F5 a little bit, but it's a cool move. It just has me scratching my head. Last but not least, I'm just gonna be honest, y'all. Could Karrion Kross do better if he did not have Scarlett?
Oh,
I might go missing for saying that, but if I'm gonna be the one to say it, I'm just gonna be honest. I just feel like we got.
You saying you believe Scarlett makes him look weak?
No, I'm not saying it makes him look weak. It's just either they don't get what she's supposed to be in this whole dynamic duo. It just something doesn't seem like it's connecting. It just doesn't. I feel like it's a bit much now that I look at it.
It's not Scarlett. It's the fucking creative and not doing what he's doing.
Then that's a fair point, because again, it just seems like whatever they're trying to translate, it just looks muddled. That's I'm just being honest, because like I said before, I really want to see Karrion Kross do very well, but it just seems like something's hidden. But man, that Final Prayer is a nice little move.
Hey, at least he's got a good head of hair.
He sure does, man. I tell you what, he need to go talk to LeBron James and the rest of them. He ain't got no damn hair, man. He got full set of hair.
Just kind of going back to LA Knight, I thought it I thought it was interesting that he brought up exactly what our topic was last week. He was like, how's the hottest talent right here have no spot on SummerSlam or this I guess this battle royal they're going to come up with. So it was just pretty interesting that it was like, I guess maybe he's reading what everyone is saying about him too, but it's interesting that they threw that line up in there, So I guess that's an indication to us that we know that what's being talked about. So,
Hey, I want to take the opportunity to say thank you, Disco L Super Beasto. I will respectfully decline the sausage party if that is indeed an invitation to the chat. Not judging, it's just not my thing.
All right, here we go. What y'all looking out for? All right, back to you, Sin City. It's got to be something that got you excited for something.
Of course. So this past week on Dynamite, we saw more of AR Fox than we've ever seen on AEW TV. And, this just goes to show that if they really wanted to, they could make an audience care about a character. Realistically, we went into the show knowing of AR Fox in passing, but they built it up. They had video packages, profiling him and the things that he did with Darby Allin and, sowing those seeds for what was to come later on in the night. Mm-hmm. Now, obviously, the international title match that AR Fox lost, after the match, he chose to crumple up the glasses and clock Orange Cassidy in a show of poor sportsmanship. Obviously, that brought out Darby Allin, and he was pissed off. So that kind of, built to something. And then in the main event, we had Swerve, not in the main event, but later on in the show, we had Swerve Strickland versus Darby Allin. Swerve picks up the win, but only because a hooded figure steals does whatever they needed to do. And helped Swerve pick up the win. So, we got a heel turn from somebody that we really hadn't established as a character. Yes, you could look at that as a WTF. I'm choosing to look at it as a positive, because what we're going to get out of this, we're going to get Swerve and AR Fox versus Darby Allin and Nick Wayne, which should be some pretty decent matches, to say the least. And then, the Jericho Abandonment Society. I think that they're doing everything as they should. Have everybody just kind of dissolve, go away, do their thing. And speaking of that painting that Callis presented to Jericho, that shit was fucking priceless.
Yeah. Quick question, City. Just take a look at American Bam Bam comment. Do you want to respond to anything on that one, or are you just yeah? You don't have to.
So the funny thing is, that's one of the things that I'm looking forward to. But realistically, it's something that I try to talk about nearly each of the segments on AEW TV, knowing that, quite frankly, I'm the only one on this show that will. No offense, Simon, but I know that you predominantly focus your attention on WWE stuff, as do Matt Michaels and as do you, Impact.
Mhm.
So quite frankly, it's one of those things where, we have these prompts, and I'm have certain things that I know that I need to fill those buckets on, so that I don't have to watch a freaking WWE programming. So I am looking forward to what they're going to do with AR Fox, Swerve Strickland, Darby Allin, and Nick Wayne.
All right, Simon Street, man, what are you looking out for, man? What's exciting?
I got quick 3 things. Number one, I am definitely looking forward to see what Bobby Lashley is trying to do. Is it going to be Hurt Business 2.0, or is it, or is he just part of the Big Brother program, just to get Dawkins to wear some more fitting clothes than joggers all the time? Interesting how Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes may tie into it or not, as we saw the segment where he was speaking to Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins with regards to that. So it's just interesting. So that's one thing I'm looking forward to. Number 2, I am looking forward to what was said by MJF at the end of Collision. Now, as I was very outspoken last week's show about what I find to be problematic with the 3 shows, well, really the 2 shows and the completion show in the middle with AEW is, it's great. They have great products, but at some point you're going to have to make some sense of the realistic, not realistic chaos between the Elite, CM Punk, and FTR. So a lot of the stuff that your boy MJF said at the end, I felt like kind of matched a little bit of that, of what's going to happen. So I thought that was cool. But then at the end of the day, he does still go by the devil. So I'm looking forward to him totally putting a chicanery on all of y'all asses, thinking this dude is fucking pious as Midas, and he's just going to come back and he's just going to gut y'all all like fishes. I'm going to laugh my ass off to the bank, because MJF can do no wrong to me. That is the crown jewel of AEW. I said it. If they let that dude go, that is the dumbest shit I've ever heard. Get that man all the money he wants. Let him do whatever the hell he wants, because that is some brilliant shit. And then the third thing is, I'm looking forward, as I said last week, seeing Cody Rhodes' documentary comes out tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. And I even got my fiance who's going to watch it with me. She don't normally watch shit with me. And my son's going to watch with me. So it's actually going to be a family affair, which in my history has never happened like that with a WWE documentary. So it's a moment for me.
That's awesome.
All right. Maybe that whole show will make a part of the next week's segments. Who knows? So we'll see.
Maybe.
Man, Michaels, what you looking out for, man?
Well, it won't make Steve's segments, obviously.
I mean, they are using BTE footage.
That's true. So you can only watch certain parts of the doc. That's it. Like fast forward. Oh, Elite. I can watch this. Okay. All right, fast forward. I'm looking forward to Maxine versus the Viking Jake, just because it's Maxine. I am looking forward to Ricochet versus Logan Paul. This is the first time I've ever cared about a Ricochet match, because it should be good. He does suck on the microphone, but Logan made up for it. In fact, Logan, the whole time he had the phone in his hand when he got his ass kicked, he held
on to
it. That was fucking brilliant.
Like a teenage girl.
Exactly. It was fucking, it was so fucking telling. He's getting his ass beat and he's got the phone in his hand and he's just fucking holding it. And I'm looking forward to Cole Carter. Is he still in AEW? Because Stax and Tony D won the title tonight, the tag team championship on NXT. And Thea Hale, his ex, was wrestling for the women's title on the pay-per-view. But Cole Carter, I don't know, man. Is he still swimming with the fishes? Isn't that what they did to him in NXT?
Evidently, you shouldn't have pissed hot.
Yeah, right. Oh man. So yeah, it's just interesting to see. You see, I wonder when a person is in that spot, are they watching something like that, going, "Did I fuck up?" or or am I? Do I need to prove myself more? So interesting.
It's kind of interesting
Definitely.
you say that, because I think
Definitely.
we did have an interview with the both of them long time
Facts.
ago where we talked about that very topic. So look through Vegas Bad Boys, find that interview.
No doubt, no doubt. All right, let's get into the best in show. All right, best in show. Let's go with you, Simon Street. What you got?
Man, a bit of a tough one. My heart wants to choose NXT, Great American Bash. And for all purposes, I probably will still go with Great American Bash. But that's not without mentioning the magic and the power, which is surprising we didn't talk about the whole show. That is Tribal Warfare. Those open and closed segments on SmackDown carried SmackDown this past Friday, in my strongest opinion. And I watch a lot of shows on streaming. Some of the best captivating stuff. I know we've said it live. I won't go into detail. That's what I would like to say. What is the best of the show? But unfortunately, it was not. It was Great American Bash. And the reason why I say that is because it was very, very smart produced. The little things that matter to me that I really liked was, throughout watching it, they took the opportunity of it being primetime television on Sunday, showing packages for all of their leading talent, so that if anybody happened to watch this today, they got to know a Tiffany Stratton, they got to know a Thea Hale, they got to know a Angelo, and it wasn't just what happened weeks prior, it was their introduction packages, right? Really good, just booking. And yes, some matches were slow to start off, but it was really, really good. I'll finish with this. Going back to Dragunov and Carmelo Hayes. Sin City, we, out of everybody here, are familiar with strong style New Japan wrestling, correct? That match was probably the only WWE thing that I've seen that comes close to that kind of match. It was the match itself, if you go watch it, translated more than the words. And I'm not saying other matches don't, but that's what I took from it. I was like, wow, this really feels like a New Japan type of match. It spoke to me. So that's why I'm gonna say Great American Bash, hands down, really good, excellent.
All right, let me move over to you, Matt Michaels.
Great American Bash.
Oh, okay, gotcha. All right, cool. And Sin City Steve.
Yes, always the contrarian voice. AEW Collision. Like I said, it is not just the show of the week for AEW, but it's also the show of the week if you are a fan of professional wrestling. And not to diminish anything that's done on any of the other shows, but I really like the presentation, the product, everything that they're doing in ring, as well as promos, building characters. It almost feels like a separate promotion from how things are portrayed on Dynamite. And quite frankly, that's what they need. We've discussed this ad nauseum. But yeah, I mean, things like the Bullet Club Gold partnership with Juice Robinson and the Guns. I was skeptical at first, but I think it's going to be great. And yet again, you're building the future. AEW Collision for sure.
All right. Perfect. This time we want to thank everybody for hanging out and either watching or listening to us on Wrestling Talk for this week. Feel free to always join us live Sundays right at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We welcome you to jump on, put your comments in, and we'll get it on. We love to read them. We love to see them. Doesn't matter if you agree with us or disagree with us. Just hop on. It's a fun thing. With that, you got a chance to see what the 3-count topics are going to be next. So if you are watching us live, just be prepared. We're going to go right back live in less than a minute. and we'll do our 3 count. But if you're a person that just loves downloading the podcast, thank you. To be available Tuesday. We appreciate you. We'll see you next week when we do it all over again, y'all. Till then, happy wrestling.